gets pretty ridiculous. And it particularly gets ridiculous when you, as the owner of that social security number, are the only one who gives a damn about its dissemination. The IT guy doesn't care, you know, I mean, it's a file. But so we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about very complex technology. We're going to take Microsoft Outlook, one of the most complex legacy applications there is out there in the Windows world, and we're going to make it, we're going to basically turn it on its head and we're going to make it spin for you. And we're going to make it absolutely, totally lockdown secure. And I don't want to go sell too much here because you'll see what it does. But when I say that, what I mean is that right now, anything you do in Outlook with a DRM or anything else, anything you do in an email context, that email server still has a copy of whatever you sent to somebody else. And if the IRS takes an interest in you, the SEC takes an interest in you, or a hacker takes an interest in you, they need to only go to your PST file, your OST file, or go to Rackspace and get it, or whatever, and they have the keys to your kingdom. That's the truth, right? You can do all the things you want to do to lock down a PST and OST file all day long, but the fact is, your stuff is in there. And if the SEC wants it, and they get it warrant, they get it. We take that off the equation.
All right, now you're going to the geeks over Office 365 versus.
Essentially, it's a
Right, but it's not. All right.
But
let's get into that.
We're still, yeah, I mean, Microsoft isn't that brilliant. They do the same things with different flavors of technology. I mean, but either case. In our case, what we do is we take the native original problem, which is that the email subject, not subject, but the email header, body and attachments are sent in their native forms by and large, unless the person makes a special effort, which they rarely do, to specifically encrypt them, right? So I send you an email, something, whatever, it comes in that form, and we may take some steps as far as, you know, do some things for you to see it, but once you see it, it goes to the server, save it, right? So we solve all of that, and we're going to show a demonstration. So those are the two things we're going to show you here. Now that I've tweaked the stuff, and you'll see we can fulfill both of them. We're going to first look at the text one, and we're going to do that as a video because we have a problem here that our technologies we are continue in evolution here. So we have our email is our latest product in development that you're going to see later. The problem is everything is confidential here, so we use the same libraries for everything. And this older one, that's the one on sign, you guys can get downloaded, always could, but it's online, you download it, this text one you can see. We're going to walk through it today and explain a couple of things very briefly, have some discussion about that, then we're going to email presentation, so that'd be kind of the scope of things here. But we're going to present this as a video because we don't want to put the libraries on this machine. We only have the one box here. The libraries we compete competition with other. We've had some problems, and hopefully we've got them straightened out. But we've had some issues with, so we just said, well, fine, we'll go with the video for first. We're going to do some commentation stuff. And here it explains, it's got a slide up as to why we're doing that. I don't want to think we're not doing something good, but essentially, what we're going to talk about here a little bit before we get to the text is we have some language and stuff that also has evolved. When you see the text and you see the references, we have basically our constituent set of criteria that defines what an owner's things they want to see in the environment before access to something is granted. Is contained in something called an AMUmail, which is an abstracted thing that's away and apart from the digital asset. In the current terminology, we tend to call that a checklist. We call it whatever because it's a checklist of list of things that the user, and it can be very large. But so I'm just explaining some terminology here, differences you're going to see in this first video from the second, or from the live presentation we do later. We also used to call it an AMUmail config file, which is essentially the file in which multiple AMUlets are stored. And there's some relationships here we'll probably get into later, but now we call that a hive, so because it's 4 letters versus, so I want to explain that, there's going to be some differences here in the two, but if we go ahead and start, and Scott's going to do a presentation of that, and if you can, Scott's pretty good, but he's going to go through the thing the way he remembers it, so we'll just kind of let it do his thing here.
I'm just going to push the button.
Yeah, go for it.
For the most part. I do want to give when we were bringing the demo up, the quality of the video, horrible on a big because it was for web. So we've re-recorded the video. It may be slightly out of sync with the audio because I didn't redo the audio. Okay. So just a quick little disclaimer there, and let's make sure we got enough.
yet, where you go?
The speakers,
This is a problem I had before. Oh,
In the right place. No.
oh, it's going through the, for some reason, it's going through this.
Yeah.
What's it going through this?
Oh.
You need to switch your audio device to
Yes.
the
Yeah.
audio out rather than HD.
He's not a Windows guy, he's a Unix guy, we feel sorry for him.
Where?
Then you go small, make this smaller,
Yeah.
and this triangle thing. And there is a speaker.
There's one for a speaker right here. Go, sorry, where's my hands?
There.
Yeah,
Go,
here.
yeah, right there, go there.
Okay.
Right here.
And go up here to the arrow right there.
Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
And then go to speakers, here, there you go, try that. There may be the other set of speakers on the side, because I think it goes.
Now we're gonna blow
Be
it.
digital.
Yeah.
Today we're going to run through a demonstration of the AMUlet digital asset security technology that's been developed by our team here at Certitude Digital. We're going to do this via the use of a plain text editor application that we've written that is AMUlet aware, meaning it can recognize, open, as well as create and save AMUlet protected files. So let's start here by launching the application. Get our splash screen there.
Oh, we can pull it
We've
back.
got a file. Before I open it, let's go take a look at the file on the disk here. Right here. So this is a plain text file. Let's first open it using regular notepad. So nothing unusual about it, it's just a plain text file. So now let's go back to our AMUlet aware application and open the file as well. And again, there's the text. What I'm going to do now is let's save this as a protected file. And we'll give it a different name. We'll say it's protected. What we'll see is a pop-up here that
That's good.
gives us options for saving it as a plain text or saving it as an AMUlet protected file, which is what we want to do here. The two items that we have to identify are, first we have to specify the AMUlet configuration file that we want to use. And within that file, then we'll specify the specific AMUlet ID. So we've got a configuration file here. And the ID for the AMUlet, we need to enter here. It's very simple. Oops.
So this is
And-
user created ID?
No,
It can be, for the author. We're just doing a simple one, but it could be very complex. It's a good stopping
You guys
point
stop
anyway. Because I wanted to show on in the video, I talk about header text, and what that's referring to is this box up here. You can put, you aren't authorized, or whatever a non-authorized person would see. If they attempt to open it, they'll see that text, and so that's later in the video when I'm talking about the header text. That's what I'm talking about.
But the intent of this is your low-level driver showing all the capabilities. You expect the real user experience is going to be hopefully quite a bit simpler.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
but he was just starting
You're
that,
saying
it's
that,
part of his
yeah.
deal here.
Yeah, in fact, that's
This is an
older
older-
exposing, you already know that. So it's good.
I mean, if I was just an ordinary user, you would have lost me already by now.
Well, this is not a user application, this is only a demo application. You will see when we actually use this thing, the user has no interface in this other than selection, which is, go into your.
But this is the work, so there's a workflow to get the document into your system.
Right.
This, you're showing us a complicated version because it's just the
Just
way
the
that uses all the functions of your API.
Right, we're trying to show you
better
how-
do a clean version of that hides most of the
Yeah,
details.
and you'll see that in the email section.
Sounds good.
It's very.
Right. In
That's
fact,
fine, that's good.
Yeah, no, perfect, because that was actually in the notes. We were going to say, don't let this blow you away.
Just a
specific.
bit of advice, my experience in these things is you don't show this sausage being made to potential customers. I mean,
You're
I'm
right.
an engineer, but
He always tells me that, don't ever show the sausage being
you
made.
don't show the sausage being made. You should lead with how simple it is, and then you go back and show geeks like
But
me.
that's the business case right now.
Yeah,
right.
Where we're doing the
Yeah, we were
dive
told
down
that.
to you guys.
Yeah, we prepared this for you guys
Yeah,
because we were
exactly.
told that
Alright.
we have a, you
This
can.
is for you.
Yeah, this is,
Well,
this is
for
for
me,
you.
I have to put on my usability hat, I'm not just a.
No, no, sure.
And so, you know, so clearly, I wanna see some examples of your best usability.
Right,
No.
right, so this,
Yeah.
this,
We saved the best for the last.
This is-
We do, but
Alright.
for this demonstration.
this config
On
file.
the website, we have it the other way around.
This config file, or what's now called the Hive, is now a drop-down. You can put user-friendly names in it. Within the Hive, this, you don't see these numbers, again, user-friendly names, so it can be, you know, this is the one I use for John when I'm sending communication, et cetera.
When we do it now, when you go to select an AMUmail, it's simply one line, it says a user-friendly name, you edited it, you're free to edit it, whatever, it says, hey, I associate this with something, boom, you know, and click on it, but that's it. It's, you will, we have demonstration of it.
What we're gonna do is, before I test the amulet, let me explain what the criteria is in this amulet that we've identified. In it, we are using just the files validation criteria. And our criteria says that there must be a file called goodtestfile.txt in our C staging demo files area. We also have an additional criteria that says there must not be a file called badtestfile.txt. So looking at this, this meets the criteria for that amulet. So let's go back, let's go ahead and test the access. Our amulet configuration file was submitted, and now it's going to make a request, a lease request, to see if the access is approved.
So that lease request, that was what Scott talked about earlier. It's been monitoring the environment, and it's providing a lease for a short period of time. Oh, and the config file being submitted, what that's talking about is it's docking it to the framework manager. The framework manager's piece
The
that's
config
doing
is
the
where all
analysis.
the different parameters are kept.
Pardon me?
The config is where all the parameters are kept.
Yes.
It's where all the AMUlet.
And how is the config file protected?
It's, you want to show it? Well, you, I
Oh,
think
we can talk about it.
You're gonna see it here.
And it is. So that's what we want to see. So, and then we've got some debug information. We'll ignore that for the demo here. So we've tested it. Let's go ahead.